it's pretty similar to racing downhill. There's not a real textbook to it. I know engineers learn certain basics, and now the bike industry's come on a lot. Like, it's a really amazing industry, but to learn downhill, you have to go and do it, right? You have to go and test. You have to go and ride. You have to time yourself, which we both know, and you do that. But to develop a bike seems kind of the same. Like, jump in the deep end and you just have to get reps. And you went through a lot of iterations of this bike. Like, I guess there is a lot of similarities to downhill versus maybe developing a bike.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, what I love about downhill racing is you can take so many different approaches. It's not like a lot of endurance sports. The the training you need to do or the prep is very clear, and um, there's not that many different ways to do it. But with downhill, there's so many different body types, different styles of riding, different styles of training, um, to try to get the fastest, 4 minute run, 3 minute run down a mountain. And with bike development, it's kind of similar. Like, you can take different approaches, different things work better for different people. There's no one way that works. I think you've gotten a chance to ride a lot of different bikes in your career, and um, that you can see even now there's different setups that are winning races. Like, there's been 6 bikes that have won races this season. So through it all, I guess I've learned like the things that I like, and um, just tried to find some correlations. There's never like one thing that's the end all be all, but yeah, I've gotten a chance to test and develop with um, a little bit with Trek when I was on that team. I was on that team for 5 years. I've gotten a chance to test some new things with them. Um, and then when I went to Scott, the second team I raced for, was really the big learning experience. The engineers there and like Ben Walker really explained so much to me about how my feeling on the bike, like what that related to in numbers, so that I could understand when they're designing the bike what the different things do to it, and then trying to develop it, what we can do to give the feel that I'm looking for. So that I learned so much. And then I had the chance to race for YT, but the bike was pretty set. I didn't really get to do much testing there. And then going to Intense, it was like almost similar to what I'm doing now, where Jeff Stieber was welding all the bikes himself. There was pretty much the ability to get new prototypes whenever we needed to. He had a lot of the tools to do it in house, so it wasn't waiting as long the lead times to get things. And through that, I learned a ton, and kind of sparked my interest to want to try it myself after seeing what they were able to do with Intense. Um, and yeah, now I've started my frameworks project, which is just I designed my own bike. I didn't know much in the beginning. I knew based on all the bikes I already rode what I thought I wanted, and made a prototype, rode it. It was better than I expected. Um, Maybe good enough to make me want to keep trying. And then have refined that over the past 2 years, and still am doing some testing. And I feel like I got through a process where I think I've had like 10 prototype frames now, 10 revisions of it. And yeah, the bike rips now. So it's been a fun process.
What was the first um, sort of, okay, so you've got this first idea in your head of a bike, and maybe I'm skipping forward because I do want to understand when you were getting into wanting to design your own bike, or this process with Intense, because that seems like when it sparked the idea, or maybe there were frustrations with not being able to give your feedback. Did you have a notepad and numbers and some drawings that you try to put together? Or was it just all in your head? Like, how did you communicate that first prototype to the guy that built it for you?
So I guess over the years, I've kind of learned some things like what leverage ratio of a shock feels like, giving feedback to engineers on teams that I've raced for. Sometimes we were able to get a custom link or something special for the bike to tune it specific to us. So I guess I had a notepad and just some understanding of it to when the engineers would show us some graphs on the bike, I could tell them what I thought I wanted, or based on the feel that I was riding, what if I wanted a little more sensitivity or a little more support, um, how that would look in a graph, and then learning some more about some other of the characteristics of the bike, like under braking, what the graph would look like, what bikes that I liked, like they quantify that in anti-rise. So like what kind of braking feelings I would like in bikes. Um, so I had a little bit of a notebook and an understanding of it, and I downloaded this program called Linkage. It's there's like a $30 version. It's pretty simple. It's a 2D computer program. Basically has a bike's suspension points laid out on an X and Y axis, and you can move them around, like drag them and move them, or you can type them in, and you can even upload pictures, like side profiles of bikes, and put in like a known measurement, and it'll show you proportionally where all the other ones are, the other pivot points are. And it's not very accurate that way, but if you want to design your own bike, it's accurate enough to give you an idea of how it, if it's possible in real life, and in 2D, it gives you all the outputs based on where your pivots are. And it's really easy and simple to use. So I started playing with that just as like we were developing some bikes with intents. We wanted to give them good feedback. So I started playing around with the linkage program and learned enough about it that I had some designs of my own that, I was just playing with. And sometimes maybe you design a crazy bike that's not really possible to make, like all the links actually wouldn't fit together in real life, or it might be really hard to actually make. And then I designed some pretty simple bikes, some bikes that were not VPP, which is what Intense was using at the time. And that kind of led me to like some of the designs that I made. And at first, I had no intention of trying to make my own bike. I was just interested in playing with the program. And I don't know, some guys go and play Xbox at night, and I was playing with linkage and enjoying the process of learning how to understand better the engineering side of the bike. So that led me to design some frames that, as I said, I never intended to make. But as I saw the process of Jeff making the bikes at Intense, and um, us testing and giving feedback, I kind of started to like the idea of making one of my bikes. And yeah, in the beginning, I didn't really necessarily want to make it into my own project. Even I just thought maybe I could get one of these things made. Um, if I make it and it's totally shit, then I don't have to tell anybody. Like I could ride it at home, and even if somebody found out, I'd be like, "Oh yeah, I made my own bike just to see what it was like." Like, wasn't something that was going to prevent me from riding for another team or getting a sponsor. But yeah, in the beginning, I just wanted to see what it would be like. Like I was just genuinely interested in it.